Og Mandino's 1982 book, University of Success, Lesson 9, How to Make the Most of Your Abilities. How to make the most of your abilities. Now, Og Mandino, in his introduction to Lesson 9, writes, "There is an old cattle country axiom which states, success in life comes not from holding a good hand, but in playing a poor hand well. Success in life comes not from holding a good hand, but in playing a poor hand well." The easiest thing to do whenever you fail is to put yourself down by blaming your lack of ability for your misfortunes. The easiest thing to forget, especially when fate has been unkind to you, is that you were born to succeed, not fail. You cannot rise above the level of your vision. You cannot rise above the level of your vision. That's a good word right there. The man who guides a push cart through the alley to pick up bottles and stray bits of paper will remain between the shafts of his rickety cart as long as he believes that he has no talent for anything else. Kenneth Hildebrand had that rare ability to make even Skid Row derelicts raise their sights and aspire to a better life. Thousands flocked to his non-denominational church, the Central Church of Chicago, and his messages from the pulpit, as well as radio and television, were a beacon of hope that still lights many hearts. Let's go back to vision. You cannot rise above the level of your vision. What is vision? We've spent a lot of time in this space over the years talking about vision. It's so important. A lot of us immediately go to the scripture that says, "For lack of vision, the people perish. For lack of vision, the people perish." Many of us know that. But let's look at the definition of vision. Vision, something seen otherwise than by the ordinary sight, an imaginary, supernatural, or prophetic sight, beheld in sleep or ecstasy, one that conveys a revelation, a writing as a poem purporting to represent something beheld in a revelatory dream, trance, or ecstasy, a vivid concept or object of imaginative contemplation, the apparition of a person, a visual image without corporeal presence. And here's the one I like: a manifestation to the senses of something immaterial. A manifestation to the senses of something immaterial. A manifestation to the senses of something immaterial. I like that. So those are a few definitions of the word vision. In plain talk though, I perceive vision as the state of my inner verse when I close my eyes and see darkness there and sit in quiet contemplation. What images does God place in my head? What images are floating up from my heart to my head? What am I seeing in my inner verse about a particular thing or my state of being in the present or future or turn of events that is about to happen? Or even more plain spokenly, how are the desires of my heart visualized in my inner verse? When I close my eyes and see blackness, darkness, as I meditate, how are my heart's desires visualized on the motion picture screen that is present in my inner verse? That's vision. And what Og Mandino is saying in this introduction is this: you cannot rise above the level of your vision. So if there's nothing on the movie screen, where you gonna go? But as you begin to develop that inner picture on that inner movie screen of what you want to happen, you begin to move toward it and are eligible and available to rise even above that into higher heights. Vision, so important. For a lack of it, the word says, the people perish. So Og Mandino concludes his introduction to Lesson 9, How to Make the Most of Your Abilities, with this. From his book, Achieving Real Happiness, Kenneth Hildebrand, a compassionate observer of human frailties, provides you with a simple plan which will enable you to take full advantage of the talents you already possess. Listen carefully. So let us now move into the mind of Kenneth Hildebrand and into the pages of his 1955 book, Achieving Real Happiness. The guiding thought for Lesson 9 comes from this book, and here's the guiding thought. How is it that many individuals who possess only limited capabilities manage to attract great admiration for extraordinary results? How is it that many individuals who possess only limited capabilities manage to attract great admiration for extraordinary results? That is a question. How is it that many individuals who possess only limited capabilities manage to attract great admiration for extraordinary results? So let us dig right there, brothers and sisters. Lesson 9, how to make the most of your abilities. Page 86. More questions. What is the secret which harnesses ordinary powers to outstanding achievements? How do some individuals attract admiration for extraordinary results when actually they possess only limited talent? What is the secret which harnesses ordinary powers to outstanding achievements? How do some individuals attract admiration for extraordinary results when actually they possess only limited talent? Think of the word talent as synonymous with ability, and several suggestions on how to make the most of our own capabilities will become evident. And then author Kenneth Hildebrand begins to detail what he calls his suggestions on how to make the most of our own capabilities. Suggestions on how to make the most of our own capabilities. Suggestion number 1, take stock of your abilities. Take stock of your abilities. What talents do we possess? What are our assets, our strong points? We should also take our inclinations into account. Possibly we have several talents, any one of which could develop into something useful and satisfying if we were to pursue it. Our inclination helps us decide which of our assets to develop. Page 87. If we had our druthers of what to do with our abilities, what would we choose? This is a question in another form that I would ask way back in the day when I was life coaching in my own practice. I would always ask, if money was not an issue, and you had more money than you'd ever need for the rest of your life, how would you choose to spend your time? What would you do? What kind of work would you engage in for the rest of your days? And that is a take on this very question that Kenneth Hildebrand is asking in this lesson. If we had our druthers of what to do with our abilities, what would we choose? What would we choose? A talk with a wise friend, a clergyman, a banker, a lawyer, or a vocational counselor may help. Perhaps we should take vocational guidance tests to reveal our potentials. Such consultation and analysis should aid in determining the area in which we should strive to use our abilities. In taking stock of our abilities, we should ask ourselves if the area in which we have talent is feasible. Is our ambition feasible? Does it lie in the range of practical possibility? Does it lie in the range of practical possibility? If not, we are wise to turn our aspirations to other channels. We should begin by surveying the opportunities open to us. Situations which at first appear as roadblocks may later reveal themselves as walls of guidance. Page 88, suggestion number 2. Discipline our abilities for maximum usefulness. Discipline our abilities for maximum usefulness. Discipline is a key word. Discipline is a key word in life. Discipline is a key to mastery. Discipline. Success demands foresight and industry. It responds to thought and care. Thorough preparation is imperative if we are to use our capabilities to the fullest. The greatest undiscovered resources in the world lie under our hats and stand in our shoes. It is our responsibility to develop them. Someone receives a promotion, gets an important assignment, makes a major discovery, or moves into the president's office. He was lucky, an envious person remarks. He gets the breaks. They're always in his favor. In reality, luck or the breaks of life had little or nothing to do with it. So-called luck usually is found at the exact point where preparation meets opportunity. For a time, an individual may get ahead by pull, quote unquote pull, but eventually someone with push will displace him. That's a word right there. For a time, an individual may get ahead by pull, quote unquote pull, but eventually someone with push will displace him. Success is not due to a fortuitous concourse of stars at birth, but to a steady trail of sparks from the grindstone of hard work each day. Now, I will take exception with the first part of that sentence. When he says here, success is not due to a fortuitous concourse of stars at birth, I do take exception with that, and we can talk about that on another day at another time. In the meantime and in between time, let's keep pushing with this lesson number 9, how to make the most of your abilities. Page 89. A definite sense of purpose also adds a strong motivation toward making the most of our abilities. So, suggestion number 3 is possess a sense of purpose. Possess a sense of purpose. Nor will we cultivate and develop our capacities to their fullest until a compelling purpose inspires us to do so. We all know that purpose makes a difference. A clear picture of what we wish to accomplish and the determination to reach our goal strengthens our power to achieve it. It can make the difference between success and failure, frustration and zest for living, happiness and unhappiness. Strong lives are motivated by dynamic purposes. Lesser ones exist on wishes and inclinations. The most glowing successes are but the reflections of an inner fire. The most glowing successes are but the reflections of an inner fire. That inner fire is important. That inner fire is connected to the vision that you see on the movie screen in your mind and imagination. They're related, the vision and the inner fire. Page 90. Multitudes of people drifting aimlessly to and fro without a set purpose deny themselves such fulfillment of their capacities and the satisfying happiness which attends it. They are not wicked. They are only shallow. They are not mean or vicious. They simply are empty. Shake them, and they would rattle like gourds. They lack range, depth, and conviction. Without purpose, their lives ultimately wander into the morass of dissatisfaction. Y'all know any people like that? Do you know any people like this? Multitudes, drifting aimlessly to and fro without a set purpose, deny themselves such fulfillment of their capacities and the satisfying happiness which attends it. They are not wicked. They are only shallow. They are not mean or vicious. They simply are empty. Shake them, and they would rattle like gourds. They lack range, depth, and conviction. Without purpose, their lives ultimately wander into the morass of dissatisfaction. As we harness our abilities to a steady purpose and undertake the long pull toward its accomplishment, rich compensations reward us. A sense of purpose simplifies life and therefore concentrates our abilities. And concentration adds power. That's noteworthy. Concentration adds power. The more you hyper-focus and single-mindedly concentrate on your purpose, following your vision, the more power, spiritual power, is added unto you. Kenneth Hildebrand continues, without a corresponding sense of purpose, can we reach the levels of attainment which lie within our powers to achieve? Sustained by such a purpose, will any hardship thwart or deter us? Consult some difficult chapter in your personal experience for the answer. Perhaps your struggle to gain an education. You had to make your own way financially, and the going was hard. You received little help except from your own two hands and your will to succeed. You did without many things the other students had, and there were periods when you did not think that you would be able to pull through, but somehow you did. The proud day finally arrived when, with your mortarboard on your head and your gown draped around your shoulders, you waved your sheepskin triumphantly and shouted, "I have done it." You would not wish to go through that trying period again, but is it not true that some of the most precious personal values you then received would not be yours if the way had been easy and the road smooth. Your talents were tempered and expanded. You learned patience and endurance and the value of money. The sacrifices you were called to make proved worthwhile, and you do not regret the hardships you endured. The lesson is clear. In whatever area we may wish to apply our abilities and to find the happiness of personal accomplishment, we must be willing to sacrifice for the expansion of our talents. Page 91. Having taken stock of our inclinations and abilities, and having prepared them for use in the light of a compelling purpose, the next step is to put our talents to work. So suggestion number 4 is to put your talents to work. Put your talents to work. In using them, we develop them. Even if our abilities seem small to us, or the opportunity to use them seems insignificant, it is important to exercise them to the fullest. Exercise what? Exercise your talents to the fullest. The third servant in the parable, this is the parable of the talents, was condemned, not because he had used his talent for an evil purpose, but because he had failed to use it at all. That was his shortcoming. The third servant in the parable was condemned, not because he had used his talent for an evil purpose, but because he had failed to use it at all. That was his shortcoming. The practical truth of this insight is demonstrated all about us. People with ordinary talents often achieve more than those with greater physical and intellectual endowments because they work harder with what they have. When we match our abilities against something hard each day, some task that seems beyond our capacity, we are exercising will, mind, and body to good purpose. As we master hard things, we gain the ability to handle still more difficult assignments and fuller responsibilities. As we struggle, we grow. Page 92. In putting our talents to work, imagination adds amazing outreach to our capacities. So suggestion number 5 is use your imagination. Use your imagination. In putting our talents to work, imagination adds amazing outreach to our capacities. It opens doors of achievement and happiness which we do not anticipate and which once we would have believed to be beyond our wildest hopes of attainment. The power of imagination is one of man's greatest assets, one of the qualities which makes him unique. From one step to another, imagination has led mankind to the heights of achievement. It has produced every article we use, made every discovery for the betterment of our health and comfort, built every church and institution, and sponsored the manifold complexities of modern civilization. It is the priceless ingredient for moral, sociological, and scientific advance, a better day, and a happier personal life. When we fail to use imagination, our lives become routine. Routine leads to a rut of complacency, and complacency is deadly to the creative expansion of our skills. Imagination looks at each situation with fresh eyes and discovers possibilities hitherto unseen. Page 93. Imagination is important. So is enthusiasm. So suggestion number 6 is be enthusiastic. Be enthusiastic. In the parable, we back to the parable again, the man who hid his talent in the earth lacked both imagination and enthusiasm. Even a superficial study of successful personalities reveals that without exception, they are imbued with enthusiasm for their work and are alive with ideas for the future. They are excited about what they are doing, and they communicate the excitement to others. Their abilities take on a powerful thrust which they would lack without it. Enthusiasm does that to our abilities. It places a light inside. It makes them glow with warmth and vitality. The word itself comes from the root meaning of quote-unquote God-possessed. This makes clear both the source and the importance which the ancients attached to the quality of enthusiasm. A glance at its synonyms reveals why this should be so. Eagerness, warmth, ardor, fervor, verve, vigor. Nothing kindles fire like fire. Don't that take you back to iron sharpens iron? Nothing kindles fire like fire. When we are aflame with enthusiasm, our powers expand and our wholeheartedness becomes contagious. But enthusiasm, imagination, and even purpose cannot reach satisfying objectives until they are yoked with persistent, determined effort. It follows then that we must persevere in the use of our talents. Then author Kenneth Hildebrand talks about the wishbone, the jawbone, and the backbone. It's the wishbone that keeps you going after things. It's the jawbone that helps you ask the questions that are necessary to finding them. Finding what? The things you're going after. And it's the backbone that keeps you at it until you get them. Then what? The things you're going after. The wishbone, the jawbone, and the backbone. Page 94. To find the happiness which comes through making the most of our abilities, we must persevere in using them and making them responsive to our bidding. Persistent effort often spells the difference between success and failure, as in splitting a log in which all former axe strokes are wasted if we do not keep at it until we strike the last blow. So we waste our energies unless we demonstrate the tenacity to endure until the walls of difficulty crumble and our abilities come into their own. I like the idea of our abilities coming into their own. Our abilities have a life cycle in and of themselves. Our abilities, our spiritual gifts, they have a life cycle and they come into their own. This is part of nature. There's a beginning, there's an expansion, there's a peak, and then there's a slow decline. This is a circle, and that circle repeats itself. You can see that in the 4 seasons: winter, spring, summer, and fall. That repeat round and round and round, year after year after year, in circular motion. 4 seasons repeating perpetually. Certainly, little of lasting worth ever has been accomplished except by those who have dared to persist in the face of frowning circumstances. Something within them was superior to the obstacles they encountered. A final suggestion is to fill our present place to overflowing. So the 7th and final suggestion is to fill your present place to overflowing. Fill your present place to overflowing. Whatever position we may occupy, we can give it the benefit of our finest effort. One more again. Whatever position we may occupy, we can give it the benefit of our finest effort. Our finest effort. A man may say to himself, I am too good for this job. It is too small a position for a person of my talents. There is no opportunity here to expand my powers. In contempt, he refuses to invest his complete capacities in the meager job. Inevitably, he becomes dissatisfied, restless, and unhappy. He fails his responsibility. He fails his own future opportunity. And worst of all, he fails himself. Then Kenneth Hildebrand talks about the principle of not how much, but how well. Not how much you do, but how well you do it. Not how much, but how well. And author Kenneth Hildebrand concludes Lesson 9 with this. Consider this fine sentence. God has never put anyone in a place too small to grow. Wherever our place may be, on the farm, in the office, behind a counter, at a teacher's desk, in a kitchen, wearing a uniform, or caring for a child, when we fill that place to the best of our abilities, personal growth is inevitable. 3 things, at least, begin to happen. We do a better job of what we are doing, we expand our talents through vigorous use, and we fit ourselves for larger responsibility and wider opportunity. So let's recap. Suggestion number 1, take stock of your abilities. Suggestion number 2, discipline your abilities for maximum usefulness. Suggestion number 3, possess a sense of purpose. Suggestion number 4, put your talents to work. Suggestion number 5, use your imagination. Suggestion number 6, be enthusiastic. Suggestion number 7, fill your present place to overflowing.
Find yourself